Today's topic is environmental wellness. And yes, let's start off with the definition this morning. Environmental wellness encapsulates the surroundings that make up our lives, so our home life, workplace, neighborhood, community, and world, how content we are with them, and how we interact with them. So, I thought I would just dive right into this. As with every topic that I have done so far, interestingly enough, the day before or the morning of me doing these different areas, they really get highlighted. And this is unlike all the other ones, or is like all the other ones. Yesterday was Valentine's, and I spent the whole afternoon and evening just really reflecting on my life and my world, and I was feeling overwhelmed as I was thinking about it. So I just started writing down and, wrote this exhaustive list, and it's kind of what is tips and strategies for this area of environmental wellness. I didn't realize that environmental was today, but it doesn't surprise me. So, the very first kind of tidbit that I would say in relation to environmental wellness is, like every other different area, is taking a personal inventory. So being able to kind of sit down and take some moments and some time and space to reflect on the different areas. And in doing that, asking yourself those two questions: how content am I with this area in my life, and how am I interacting with it? Am I being passive, or am I being active in that different area? So when looking at these pieces, the other things you can ask yourself is there anything missing, and what can I do to enhance my connection or experience with this area? So the very first one is your home. And what I did yesterday, it's not exhaustive, but I went throughout my whole house, and at least all the upstairs, and I wrote down every little thing within my home that was things that I needed to address and do. They were all my stuff. So whether it be stacks of papers, closets, shampooing different spots on the floor, putting up different art, putting up different mirrors, washing walls where there's stains. So basically I took myself through a walk through each room and was like, what is it in this room that's causing me anxiety? What are all of the pieces that I see are, just a long list of to-dos, and then wrote it down. Now, I really like lists like this and short lists, and I had this epiphany yesterday. It's actually because it's kind of how I was raised. I was raised very much on we did daily chores, and then Saturday was chore day. Like the whole concept of spring cleaning was a real thing in my home. And there's something for me that's really satisfying of being able to cross it off and knowing that I've accomplished and completed it. So yeah, that's the first thing I would do, is say start that personal inventory in your home as to what are the different things that are just nagging you. Perhaps there's different, cupboards and drawers that you haven't. There could be, you need to clean out your closet of, clothes, or there's 100 different million types of shoes, and you don't even know whose shoes fit who anymore. I could go on, and that plant care, right, is another one that I have. I have a bunch of plants, and I had a bunch of dead leaves in it, so I wrote them down, like I want to, give the plants attention to actually maybe fertilize them. What are a few other ones that were different on here? I have a heavy bag. I really need to put sand in it. There's water in it, so I wrote it on my list. It's been a thing that I'm constantly always thinking of, but it's just having it down and being able to say, okay, what are the stuff that I need to do? I'm going to get into how to work with this list a little bit farther on in this video, but first thing is to take a whole inventory and write it down, see where you're at, and if different things were dealt with, how would it enhance your experience within your home? Then you can also extend this to outside in your yard, or if you have a garage, or if you have a shed, if you have a room. That's not to say that you are doing all of these like this week, this month. It could just be something where you're taking stock and it's something you're working on for the whole year. Then the next place is your workplace. So if you don't work from home, if you are working in an office, you can also do this within your office as taking inventory. Is this place bringing me peace? Is this place, how do I feel when I'm in here? Is the lighting right? Do I need maybe some plants? Do I need more airflow? Do I need more heat? Do I need it cooler? All of those different pieces. This was a really big one when I was managing. I would work with every single staff member on what was their work environment office like, because we spend so much time in there that it can get really it can get really overwhelming, and it can become more of a depressing space, or it can be more uplifting and rejuvenating. Perhaps you need to put a diffuser in there with some natural scents, or even some candles to light to kind of calm it down. Whatever, muted colors on your walls, or paintings, or pictures of why you're even doing this to begin with. Could be family, could be friends, could be a place in Mexico, little place by the water, whatever it is that gives you that vision of I got this, and creating an environment where in your work life that you're having a healthy connection and experience while you're there. I've also included your vehicle. For me, I know when I'm at different times of overwhelm, we spend a lot of time in our cars. So it is a different type of environmental space, and, cleaning it out, washing it, vacuuming it, shampooing the carpets if I need, even doing maintenance on it. Have I checked the oil pressure, the tire pressure, the windshield washer fluid, on and on and on. Or if I don't have time for it, which is 100% fine, have I made an appointment to go and get it done by somebody else? Because if we do not do these things, they can blow up big time. I once had my engine as a 18-year-old blow on my car because it didn't have oil in it. So I know this one well. The next area within environmental wellness is your neighborhood. So really, taking an inventory of your neighborhood and where you live, and looking at those things about what is in your control and what is out of your control. For some of you, you could just absolutely love where you are, and that feels great. So this would be an easy one. But for others, perhaps there's different things within your neighborhood that you could see enhanced. So for me, it's actually building up a little bit more of a network around me with my neighbors, so that when big snowstorms happen, I can reach out and I know who's around that I can hire to remove the snow from my driveway. The next area is our community. So really looking at your community within environmental wellness and asking yourself, what do you like? But what isn't optimal? And are there things that I can do to contribute to that change? I find a lot of times people say and think and believe that they have no control over their community. As a person who has worked in community economic development, sure, there are many things that we do not have control over, but there is actually a lot. And I think people underestimate how much of our communities are run by volunteer boards. So if you are really passionate about your community, or a certain wanting to see something happen within your community or brought to your community, I strongly suggest that you look at volunteering on some different boards. it does take it does take time and energy and resources and commitment, but if you're going to be in that community for a long time, it really is oftentimes to your benefit, because the people making the decisions are the people often that are at the table. Or maybe you know people on those boards, maybe you don't have that time and space, but you have different friends who are on those boards, and having kind of, going out for coffee and going out for tea and talking about their experience and what they're seeing, and just talking about your community in general. And again, really taking it through that lens of what can I control and what can I not control. I never underestimate your voice at all. Reaching out to different people to create more community. So if something isn't existing, if there is a gap, and different people, perhaps reaching out and seeing if you can organically kind of create it within your own sphere. Asking yourself, do you even want to, right? Maybe there are things within your community that you don't really like, but you don't really care because you care, but you don't, because you are, looking at leaving the community in a couple years. So really asking yourselves, how much, if I really care about this, how much do I care about it? Do I care enough to make a change and to do something about it? Or do I just not like it, but it's okay for now? And then ask yourself that question: what would an ideal community look like for me, right? What things would I want? What would make me thrive within this? And again, really, sometimes the best place to start is asking yourself what is missing. And it is possible that at the end of all that inventory, where you're living and the community you're in isn't the best fit for you. And then lastly, doing a whole stock and inventory around the world. I will say this is very bizarre with COVID because our world is such a weird state. So I'm not going to really dive much into this other than to say that it is continually changing. And this is one that I don't even have answers for, as I'm just sitting by kind of waiting and seeing. But really within it, the biggest piece with the world is as being realistic about what I can control and what I cannot control. And the things that I can't control, like COVID, letting it go, and really giving it up to the universe. So going back to the house piece again, I think is where I wanted to kind of hone in on just for a second here. So when I was doing this list here, I was, one of the things within our environment that can happen is we can start to feel really overwhelmed and anxious. And a good way to move that energy within our home, besides doing things like smudging and, meditation and music and calming and candles and, all of those more kind of spiritual practices, emotional, mental clearing practices, is actually ridding our house and home of clutter and clearing up the space. So going into each room and, like I said, either doing it in the moment or just writing a list of everything you see and looking at where are there, where does organization need to happen? Where are my clutter boxes, my clutter drawers, my clutter dressers, my clutter rooms? And slowly starting to tackle them, with that spring cleaning. If you're not able to do this for whatever reason, let's just say you have way too much on your plate, which is 100% fine. I'd really encourage you to even look at hiring someone, hiring a friend to come in and to do that. It's something that I am offering to some of my family members because I need to make some extra dollars right now, and friends. But just sometimes having somebody else to go through when we may be stuck, because there could be a lot of emotions that are attached to those different piles of paper and closets and dressers and boxes and rooms. The last piece that I wanted to talk about in this topic is procrastination. So, in regards to environmental wellness, particularly in regards to home for myself, I find that procrastination is really a big thing, where I can sit there and I can see everything and I'll write lists and lists and lists, but the action piece is a little bit lacking sometimes because I'm stuck so much in the emotions or in the survival of just the day-to-dayness of stuff. Procrastination, as you all know, and I know, it can create extreme feelings of anxiety and overwhelm. And that was the piece that hit me yesterday, was I realized that it was time for me to just start getting stuff done and ticking it off my list. So the solution to procrastination and this overwhelm that I've come up with, and everyone's got other, things, is that taking stock of your life, like I said earlier, and asking yourself, what areas am I procrastinating in? And are there, in practical ways, what areas am I procrastinating? But also, what areas am I procrastinating in regards to my goals and my dreams? Have I been saying, oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to call that person, I'm going to make this appointment, I'm going to, reach out to this person, I want to build this, I want to create this, I want to do this art, all of those things, actually taking stock, writing it down to all of those different pieces and being really exhaustive within it. And then out of that, committing to how you're going to move through that list, right? You may break it up into different areas. You may so house, home, goals, relationships, budget is definitely on my list, all my budget pieces and money pieces. And then how am I going to tackle that? So for me, I have decided that this whole list is going to be for the month of February. Now, it's possible and totally fine that I don't finish everything, but then it will get bumped to March. But the one piece within it is, you can also ask, okay, so if this is my month goal, what do I want to do this week? What do I, perhaps, I'm able to tackle 5 things a day, or 1 thing in each area a week, and breaking it down to what's going to make you feel successful. For myself, like I said, I've made this for a month, but I've also committed to do 5 things a day so that I'm seeing progress, and when I'm feeling that anxiety, then I'm able to work through it. Now, the other huge piece for me, and this is just myself in regards to procrastination, that really, really helps me, is when I put on music, it helps motivate me. It gets me upbeat. I'm able to kind of dance around. I can move the energy more, and I feel less stuck and sluggish. So that is just one of my tips and tools for moving through my long, unending list, which is, as I look at it, I can even probably tell you 100 things that aren't on this list. But that's okay. It's all about just taking one step at a time. Anyways, that is environmental wellness for today. I hope you all have a great day, and I will talk to you tomorrow. Bye.